The views and opinions expressed in this channel are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the views of our guests. The views and the opinions of the guest do not represent nor reflect the views and opinions of the Lockoutmen channel, nor its host. Our guests' opinions are their own. This channel is for educational, entertainment, and informational purposes only, and utilizes fair use materials in accordance with applicable laws.
Shout out to Kersey for finding all of these disgruntled prime drivers, man. Drivers, imagine nearly a year and a half of your life to a company, running nonstop, barely seeing home, chasing the revenue, only to find out that the numbers didn't add up after all. You're pulling loads, but the money ain't money in right now. That's the story from this driver named Mike, and today we're about to break it down.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Drivers, our story begins with a driver named Mike. Shout out to Kersey. She was the one that caught up with him and did the interview. So I will link her interview with him in the description below. But he's been on the road for about 3 years. And of course, he's talking with Kersey about the raw and honest opinion and his experience with prime leasing. Okay, so just in 16 months, Mike generated about $200K in revenue, but he only walked away with about 37 cents a mile after taxes. He saw his house for just 2 weeks in that entire stretch, though. Literally 2 weeks in an entire year of him generating about $200K.
My name's Mike.
How long you been driving?
I've been driving now for 3 years. I've been with this company 16 months. Long story short, in 16 months, I did $220,000 worth of revenue. I put about 37 cents a mile in my pocket at the end of the day.
Before taxes?
So that's after taxes.
Okay, that's after taxes?
Yeah,
okay.
After taxes. I've seen my house 2 weeks in 16 months, which isn't the problem. The problem is the constant force and pressure to haul low, non-paying freight, and it's time to go elsewhere. I mean, as you can see, I'm loaded down, I'm ready to go, man.
You would think that's cool. You would think that's a person that's all about the bag though, right? But that's not because he's lazy or slow, but he ran hard, and that's what he did to get that 200K. He ran recaps for 4 months straight. He didn't do no sitting, no lack of freight. But the problem that the freight barely paid now. He explained that Prime pushed cheap freight like it was gold. And when he questioned the money, they blamed fuel costs and told him to slow down to an impossible 37 miles per hour. 37 miles per hour. This is a lease driver, and they want him to run his truck at 37 miles per hour.
My biggest expense was fuel that I needed to slow down. That the optimal speed for fuel mileage was 37 miles an hour, and I'm sorry, you can't go nowhere at 37 miles an hour.
37?
You can ask anybody. The optimal speed for optimal fuel mileage in a semi truck is 37 miles an hour.
We had 57.
37. Look it up. No joke.
Wow.
No joke. But they told me that I needed to run slower than 55, slower than 50. Like, you just can't make no money that way. Like, I'm sorry, you know, two loads a week, you know, $2,200, that's just covering my operating expense. That's not putting a dime in my pocket.
Imagine you going to your company as a lease driver, paying about $1,000 a week for your truck. And you say, hey, bro, I'm going to need the freight in order to keep up with my truck payments and keep me sustainable. Only to be told, well, instead of running 65 miles per hour, which is the actual speed limit, we want you to run 37 miles per hour to save on fuel. Make that make sense. But remember, I just said that he's paying about $1,000 for his truck? My bad, I stand corrected. He's paying $1,500 a week for a truck that's not even worth $120K. Just straight lease, not lease to own. So basically, he's renting their truck to make them money in order to make some money. That's crazy. So with all these problems adding up, the final straw is no transparency. They say he got 72% of the load, but never showed him the actual freight contracts. Meanwhile, micromanagement was on 10. They got driver-facing cameras, safety calls over minor moves without a seatbelt, and overall, just no trust. Like, ever since they got the cameras in their trucks, that changed the whole dynamics of Prime, period, with their drivers.
Well, one, they got to be more transparent.
Okay.
You can't just say, hey, you're getting 72% of the freight, but refuse to show you what the actual freight's contracted at. Two, what we're paying for these trucks. It's ridiculous to pay $1,500 or $1,600 a week for a truck that don't cost $120,000. That would be the big thing. And then, all the micromanaging, the driver-facing cameras, the constant calls from safety. Hey, why did you make a legal U-turn? If I'm not doing anything unsafe, why are you bothering? They need to let us drivers do our job. If we're not doing anything wrong, we're not getting, we're not late and anything like that, leave us alone. We're out here trying to make a living.
Now, I can understand if the cameras was already in the trucks and the drivers came over knowing that they was already in the trucks, but they just added the cameras to the trucks. These drivers was already used to driving without driver-facing cameras in their face every day. Prime said they got this in for safety reasons. No, I can tell you right now, the AI snitch cameras is not for safety reasons. It's basically to keep a close watch on you. Move your truck without a seatbelt, we're gonna call you. Go 5 miles over the speed limit, we're gonna call you. Hard braking, we're gonna call you. You not getting up in time to start running your clock, we're gonna call you. Basically, that's what the snitch cams is all about. It's not about safety, even though Prime and other mega carriers that have the snitch cameras in their trucks, they wanna say, yeah, it's for safety reasons. The only way it's gonna happen if you trigger it. Not putting on a seatbelt, that triggers it. Being drowsy, that triggers it. Looking down for more than 5 seconds, that triggers it. Yeah. They got the camera so sensitive to being triggered. That's not a safety issue. That's just being micromanaged. That's just my opinion, right? So after multiple failed attempts to raise concerns, Mike, of course, had enough. Now he's moving on to a new company with 100% low board access, less than half the lease cost, and no driver-facing cameras. He's taking on more responsibilities with oversized and heavy hauls, but he's getting more money and more of the freedom to do it. Drivers, this is the kind of story that exposes the trap of a lot of lease operators falls into. These mega carriers will dazzle you with the percentage and then keep you in the dark when it's time to show the real money. If they say you're getting 72% but can't show you what 100% looks like,
show me the money.
You not getting 72%. And $1.72 a mile average with $1.40 in operating costs, that's not trucking drivers. That's just flat out surviving. Also, that driver-facing camera culture, yeah, I get it. Safety and accountability. But when you're leasing a truck at that cost, they shouldn't be babysitting you like a rookie on probation, right? Either I'm a business partner or I'm an employee. I can't be both when it's convenient for you. And let's talk about the training, right? That's what Prime also is trying to push on their drivers too. They want their lease drivers to be trainers, right? So Mike tried it, but when the student dips out after 2 weeks saying that they missed their mama or their girlfriend.
The first one said he missed his mom, the second one missed his girlfriend, and then the third one, me and him just didn't get along, and he ended up quitting, and I don't know where he went from there.
it says more about the quality of the recruits than the trainer itself. So drivers, Mike's story is a clear message. You want to know what that message is? Don't lease blind, okay? Don't let the percentage distract you from net profits. And don't ignore the red flags when the company is ducking your revenue questions. You're not just a driver, you're a business owner when you be leasing. And if you don't have the tools, transparency, the real freedom to operate like one, then drivers, you're being played. So what Prime does well is recruiting, pretty much. That's about the best thing that Prime got going for them right now. But retaining good drivers, that's where they fail. Kersey and a couple of other drivers like Mike is falling by the wayside when it comes to try to retain them. See, like Mike said, if they put half the energy in keeping their experienced drivers as they do bringing on fresh new ones, it could actually be a solid place to stay.
If you're out here thinking about jumping into a lease, watch this interview first. Know what you're signing up for. Ask the questions Mike did, and if you don't get straight answers, that's your answer right there. Thanks for tuning in to the Trucking Commentary Podcast. Don't forget, subscribe, drop a comment, and if you've had an experience like Mike's, my inbox is open. Hit me up at lockoutmenpodcastguest@gmail.com and come tell your story.
So drivers, if you're out here thinking about jumping into lease, watch Kersey's interview. I will definitely have the link in the description. Know what you're signing up for. Ask questions. Mike did.